Seven, 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 seven. わずかな星がふるさとだ。ウルトラセブン、ファイターセブン、ウルトラセブン、セブン、セブン。すずめみんなのパートナーでもウルトラアイデスパー。セブン、セブン、セブン、セブン、セブン、セブン。諸星団の名を借りてウルトラセブン、ヒーローセブン、ウルトラセブン、セブン、セブン。倒せ火を吐く大怪獣、ウルトラビームデストライク。
Hello, you are listening to Ultra Q, episode 32. My name is Red. I'm joined by Mel.
I'm about to say something alien cool, so just listen.
And I'm joined by Razan.
Hi, just to make sure we're properly motivated, I have put a fake time bomb underneath all of our seats.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a good thing I don't have an irrational fear of dying in an explosion.
Yeah, irrational.
Coming up on Ultra 7, we've got a motor race, a long-distance motor race. We've got treason of the highest order, and we have the worst man in the world. But before any of that, we got a little catching up to do. I'm just going to start by saying I'm still gaming. And also I accidentally rewatched all of Bocce the Rock yesterday. I meant to only watch one episode because I was like, I'm going to get started early for next month's Beach House. And I was like, yeah, I'll just watch an episode and that'll be that. And I was like, I'll watch a second episode. I'll watch a third. I'll watch a fourth. And that kept going until I was finished. And I was like, okay, well, now it's a month until the Beach House. I should have done this later. Oh well. That show, a good television show.
Yeah.
Butchy
A
good.
show about girls and bands.
I
Yeah.
need to stop.
Segway.
I need to stop doing the thing where, like, every other week, me and my ex are like, yeah, we should get back to Bocce the Rock, and then we just don't do it.
Have you gotten back to Breaking Bad?
Shockingly, yes, actually.
You got
Before we
back to
got back to
Breaking Bad, but not Butchy the Rock. Get off this fucking podcast.
That was her fault, not mine.
God damn. One of those shows is better than the other. Girls in bands, a novel concept. I wonder if anyone has ever done this for, as like a marketing idea, just made shows about girls who are in bands. Mel, has that ever happened?
Are you saying that... Are we skipping Razan and then it's my
It's
go?
your go? Should we do... We'll let Razan go first before we get into my go.
I have a lot of shit, so
Go
this
for
might...
No, go for
Okay.
it. We'll sit on my go.
All right.
Because I'm involved.
I'm going to say right at the top, MyGo is the only thing I have this week. So.
Okay, I'll run through the list. This starts normal, but I feel like you're gonna need... There's a few here that I think you two might need to consider putting me down. First things first. Just an update. I did, in fact, finish Who's Lila. Solid 8 out of 10 point-and-click adventure horror game. I stand by what I said last week. I think if you want something fun and cheap to go through this Halloween season, this will serve you well. I felt a little weird, so I finished streaming it with a friend, to a friend over Discord last night, and we wrapped it up, and I was, like, we had fun with it, like, her and I were just kind of, like, having fun speculating over what, like, everything was doing towards the end, and then we get to the scene that you unlock when you get all 15 of the main core endings, and I was a little like, that's it? There is a big meta-thematic I guess, statement about the nature of art and storytelling at the end of this thing. And I was kind of doing just like the nod along and be like, yes, that's how that works. Yeah. And I want to say for like a little bit there, I went to bed kind of feeling like, is that really all that it had to say? I felt like it could have gone further. But then I started to think about who the target audience is for like a pseudo ARG indie horror thing. And I went, I feel like the typical audience for this sort of game actually probably would get a lot of value out of what this game has to say about the nature of storytelling. I just think I was maybe the wrong person to receive the message, because I was just like nodding along in agreement, like, yeah, no, like, you're just spitting facts here. I don't know. This didn't seem all that revelatory for me, but I could see how for people that maybe aren't as like media criticism brained all the time, like, we are, like, okay, no, I think that maybe there's some value here for people that don't engage with storytelling perhaps the way that people that like to dive deep do. So yeah, overall, very happy with the game. I think it's fun to noodle in the brain nonetheless. I think it's definitely one of those things where the journey is definitely this is how I just feel about most things in general. Journey definitely gives you a lot more than the destination, but one, that's just surreal medium, like surreal art in general tends to be that way. Like the ending's not the point, the answer is not the fucking point, and this game knows that.
It's a real shame for me, whose brain is very ending oriented. that so many things I like are just like, oh, and then it ends.
Yeah, I think that it's good. It's one of those things where I think it's good, and it is a love letter to a lot of other things I like. Like, there's David Lynch references all throughout this game, and like, obviously this is not doing Lynch stuff better than Lynch does, but it's in that same wheelhouse, and I think it adds just enough new stuff to not feel like it's completely just, pulling a nano. It's fun. So highly recommend Who's Lila. I also
Did you find out who Lila was?
Well, about that. I'll say yes. Yes.
Perfect.
It's a lot easier to talk about and went in and out of my brain almost immediately and gave me no real desire to think about. Metal Skin Panic Maddox 01.
Okay, so Metal Skin Panic.
Yeah.
What is the deal?
With that name?
No. Just like all I know,
or what this is about.
What is it? Because I heard of Metal Skin Panic.
Okay. So, a cool military lady makes a cool exoskeleton suit that has one purpose in life, and that is blowing the fuck out of tanks. They run a simulated exercise where they have the coolest tank guy in the world try to blow up the suit, and then he gets mad because the suit is better at fighting and blowing up tanks than his tanks are at taking out the exosuit. Wacky logistics happens. The exosuit winds up in the hands of a high school-aged engineer boy who's in the process of breaking up with his girlfriend because her father's making her go study abroad.
That's a bad type of guy to give her a military exoskeleton.
Yeah. So he's like, well, I'm going to dick around with this thing. And then he gets stuck in the suit, and he can't get out of it because he didn't finish reading the manual, thus creating a Metal Skin Panic. While he is struggling with the fact that he is now bound to this exosuit, he also goes, oh shit, my soon-to-be ex-girlfriend told me to meet on top of this giant complex, like at midnight. I gotta go meet up with her. So hijinks ensue. This tank guy is like, this is the perfect opportunity for me to prove that tanks are better than exosuits. And then the exosuit lady is like, no, you're fucking not. I have a second one. I'm going to go catch up with this boy and tell him what's for. And hijinks ensue. I describe this on Twitter. The script and the writing all the way through for this feels like the writer realized the night before, like, oh fuck, I got that deadline. Shit. The boy gets stuck in suit. It is so. It just feels like an afterthought. The entire reason you're watching this is for highly detailed OVA animation of exosuits and tanks blowing shit up and the mechanisms moving and all that stuff. It is pretty to look at, but immediately forgettable. It's just kind of whatever.
Damn, rip.
Yeah.
I did kickstart that OVA. and
Yes.
got the DVD.
Well,
Blu-ray.
you know what? Shockingly, I have a segue for this, because the person in charge of that Kickstarter
Oh my fucking god.
is one Robert Woodhead, creator of Wizardry, which received a stealth launch remake.
This is the most incredible segue that there has ever been.
Yes. Well, okay.
Hang on, did
forgot
you
about
watch
this.
this? Did you watch this so you could make this segue?
No.
Okay.
No. Okay, Red. Okay, I need to talk about this, actually. I feel like I've been living in a simulation the last week. So, the past 2 years of my life, I have been playing with the idea on and off of making a big fuck off video, overgoing the development and impact and general story behind the original Wizardry, a game near and dear to my heart, influential dungeon crawler that I think just doesn't get the time of day or do it deserves anymore in video game discourse, despite having a huge if you like JRPGs in any way, shape, or form, you owe so much to Wizardry for that. There's a weird ass story behind the family of some of the people involved who made that game. So I've been working on and off on this video. I haven't been entirely happy with it in various forms, so I've started and restarted this multiple times. I've recorded a bunch of footage for it across different versions of Wizardry. And recently, and by recently I mean like a week and a half ago, I'm like, fuck it, I need to get back to that goddamn thing. It's taken me too long. I've started and stopped so many times, and like I have a nasty habit of not finishing shit. I need to go back and let's put some elbow grease back on this. I bought a fucking honest-to-God biography about one of the creators of Wizardry's dads like a week and a half ago and have been reading it. That dude used the Nazi invasion of Czechoslovakia as an opportunity to buy a castle for his family and then got kicked out when the communists came into power and were like, hey, what the fuck?
Yo, what?
Yes, no, this is what I'm like. This story needs to be told because it is wild and goes so many places, and it's there's a lot going on. Anyways, I also recently just started replaying the Super Famicom release of Wizardry, and then suddenly, out of fucking nowhere, when, like, all of this is going on in my life, Digital Eclipse goes, hey, just a teaser, and then they tweet out, like, a new version of the Wizardry logo, and we're all like, what the fuck is this? Then the next morning, they're like, yeah, there's a Wizardry 1 remake out in early access right now, and I just went, oh, okay. And yeah, I just had happened to watch Metal Skin Panic Maddox I think it was actually the Sunday night after we recorded last week's podcast.
God.
Yeah, really weird. I've been having a lot of, like, why is all of this lining up in my life right now sort of thing. But anyway, Wizardry 1 Remake. I have played maybe an hour. You know what? No, I've played 2 hours of this game. 1 hour was me trying and failing to make a party because early access games get a little weird sometimes, and every time I tried making
ask what state it's in right now.
So here's the thing. You can play Wizardry 1 Remake from start to finish. Gonna probably be some bugs along the way, and there are art assets that are not done yet. But it is a game that you can complete and hit credits on. So they give you a party at the start that is a level 2 full 6-character party. And I went, fuck that. I'm starting at level 1 with all guys that I made. So I deleted that party, and every time I got like 2 or 3 characters in to making my new party, the game would just like freeze for a split second and then delete all of the characters I had made and then reboot the pre-built characters.
Ooh, okay.
And I played around with it for like an hour, and eventually I just went like, I'm just gonna fucking reinstall it. And I reinstalled it, and so far so good. Seems to be working. But that was a little frustrating, and it's okay, so this is also annoying too, because they're doing the thing where it is like 30 or 35 American dollars right now, but they have since stated that I believe they've stated like this is the cheapest it will be during the early access period, and then this is leading up to a full release next year, and the price will be going up. So this is probably the cheapest you're going to be able to get the game for a while. It seems like they probably won't really be doing sales and stuff for it. But this is also the worst state it is in, so it's kind of hard to recommend to people. Weird spot. But I like how they're approaching this remake. These are the people that are like us, and when there are multiple versions of games, they are looking at scouring pages, detailing all the differences and how it impacts the overall experience. I think that the modern amenities they give you on the default settings are nice and a good way to ease people in who are new to the genre. Like I said, they give you a pre-built party of 6 pretty good characters that are starting at level 2 versus starting at level 1. And I think that default party would do you pretty good, while still leaving you room to have those characters die and make new ones, and like you're not going to get too attached to them. They have built-in hints and stuff that I think actually are really cool, and I'm going to actually... So I've beaten Wizardry 1 multiple times, so I don't need them, but I'm going to leave them on because the way that they do the hint system is that while you're walking around in the dungeon, it will have one of your characters that you've made have like a little dialogue box pop up to suggest like, hey, so-and-so's dead, we should go back to the temple and see if we can revive them, sort of thing. So they make it like an in-character thing, which I think is kind of cool, because otherwise they're just completely blank slate creative characters. So that's kind of fun. Something I actually really appreciate is the versions of Wizardry that I like tend to... The two that I prefer, there's a PS1 re-release of the original trilogy that I just think aesthetically is my favorite. It looks really good. And they added things like auto-mapping, like you can just pull up with one of the shoulder buttons like a map of the area that you're on, rather than having to draw one of your own with like graph paper. And just like some easier like menu navigation stuff and some very, very basic quality of life features. There's also a Super Famicom release that was weirdly enough after the PS1 re-release that also did some of that, but then made it so that instead of auto mapping being a dedicated button, you have to use the... So in the original Wizardry, there was a spell that's like a level 1 basic spell that you get, and it basically gives you what coordinates of the map you are on, and what it's used for is for serving as a reference for when you are drawing the map using graph paper. Now, when you have auto...
This PS1 trilogy collection, is it called the Hlilgamen Saga?
Yes. That is it.
Thank you, Duck Station.
Yes. So, the thing with the PS1 version, though, that some diehard fans swear against, and, like, big brain, I agree with this criticism, it's just in practice, I don't care enough, versus, like, that just has the version of the aesthetics and the music I like, so I go with the PS1 version, but... One criticism that is true of that version, that spell is completely useless for the mapping coordinates now, because when you just hit R1 to open up the fucking map, like, what's the point? So what the Super Famicom version did is that it removes the auto map pull-up button, but then when you use that spell, it pulls up the auto map instead of pulling up coordinates. Which I think is probably the best marriage of the two.
That's pretty
cool. You don't get mapping for free, but at the same time, you don't have to fucking draw the full thing yourself. And this version has that sort of thing in consideration, because they have modern quality of life feature set, classic old school feature set of like the original version of the game, and then what they call, I think they call it like console old school, which is like the in-between that like the home console ports at the time tended to do. And then of course you can use any of those as like a default preset, but then you can toggle off individual elements from each of those and create a custom version of the game, which, being the sicko I immediately did. 3D art is maybe a little generic, but it looks nice enough. The only other thing I guess I really have to say about this is I did take a look and see what Japanese Wizardry fans were feeling about this, just based off like quote retweets and stuff like that, and reactions to the news coming out. And again, granted, I'm going off of like the Twitter auto translation like thing, so take this with a grain of salt. But one thing I did see a lot of Japanese players who were commenting on this on Twitter point out that they were a little sad about is that there's no way to turn off the portraits for the party members. And for a lot of those players, they're like, well, I like to just imagine what my guys look like. I don't want like a visual indicator limiting like how I view them, sort of thing. And I actually do agree with that. I do wish there was an option to turn the portraits off. Another thing that I want, and I've seen a lot of other people tweet at Digital Eclipse asking for, is something that a lot of modern, like especially Japanese dungeon crawlers that have been coming out on Steam have been really good about, just allowing you to import custom art for your portraits. And I'm a little shocked that they don't have that. I hope that that's on the feature list.
It's a very popular feature in, last week I was talking about CRPGs. Like every current like modern CRPG that I look at right now has it has some stock portraits, but you can just import your own.
Yeah, I mean, even going back to Baldur's Gate 1, like every time I've played that game, I've used... Yes. Okay. Every time I've played... Now, granted, I think they maybe made it easy. I believe the original versions of it had it. I know the definitive editions do, because I think they made it easier because it was kind of a pain in the ass formatting-wise for the original release, but every attempted playthrough of Baldur's Gate 1 I've done has been with the Brother Nier icon. So...
For fuck's sake.
It fits completely in line with the rest of the game's art style, I promise you.
Fantastic.
So
now you have to go on the Wizardry journey and play like all the Japanese sequels.
Oh, I've already gotten to start on that. I love the PS2 one, which name is escaping me right now. Made by Atlas, I think at least published by Atlas.
Of course,
very
it's
good game. Yes. Tales of the Forsaken Land. Incredible OST. Very, very accessible entry into the series.
Yeah, for people who didn't quite sink in, Wizardry was the RPG every JRPG owes its existence to Wizardry.
Yes. Which is a first-person I feel like I put the cart before the horse.
It's a first-person dungeon crawler. The reason that JRPGs are so rife with like Dungeons and Dragons ideology is because it's imported through Wizardry.
Yes. Wizardry was explicitly made by some college people that really love D&D. We're like, we're gonna fucking, let's just make that, but a computer game.
When Persona 5 brought back like the aesthetic of lore and chaos in Persona, and you're like the Phantom Thieves, right, fighting the quote unquote lore, I guess. That is a modern expression of Gary Gygax thinking you should kill orc babies.
It is.
Yeah, I admit I don't know enough about Wizardry, both like the main series or any of its Japanese, like...
The problem is, it is the most bread and butter ass RPG you will ever play in your life, so I can forgive people not being interested, because a lot of what was so cool about it is just so standard now. I tweeted this once, like, years ago, but if you look at, like, the intro paragraph, like, of the Wizardry 1 manual, the features it advertises for, like, hey, here's what you're about to get into, literally just describes basic features you would... like, that you wouldn't even think of mentioning for any modern game. It is incredible.
I had to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Sick.
And it's very fucking hard. But yeah, I'm curious to get back to it and see how I feel about it. The thing is, I feel like I already know enough, because a lot of this stuff is very upfront. Now I just have to do the process of going through the dungeon at a glacial pace, getting sad when my favorite Blorbos die, and then making new Blorbos to take their place. I did name my halfling.
Call him Blorbo.
I called him, so I wanted to either call him Sebulba or Blorbo, and I decided on Seblorbo, and he immediately he ate shit in his very, like, second round of combat. He got hit for all of his HP's worth, and I'm like, yes.
No one beats
and I was
Seblorbo.
like, I do not have the money to resurrect him, so he's just going to stay dead at the tavern for a bit, and I'm going to need to make a second Seblorbo. I won't call him that, but...
What was he doing in the dungeon? He was supposed to be racing.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Well, you know, that's how he affords the pod racer.
Yeah.
Do you want to get into the parts where you two have to put me down?
Okay, now, what's your method? What's your method of choice? How do you want to go?
I was thinking, like, what's that book about the fucking rabbits again? The two guys?
Oh, of Mice and Men.
Yes, of Mice and Men.
What a shit.
I don't know. I started.
We're gonna get Raz and torn apart by a dog.
Yeah, actually, yeah. You know what? Let's Watership down. Let's go hardcore on this.
Jesus Christ.
So I was talking to a friend, and I mentioned, this came up naturally in conversation because we're talking about, like, hobbies and shit, and I was like, yeah, I've always, like, kind of been interested in Magic the Gathering, but I never really, like, got into it or had, like, a good way of, like, learning it or really sitting down with it. And then sometimes a cute girl is like, hey,
You did
I know a
not
bit
do it
about
because
magic.
you fucking... Razin. You can't
not angry,
confess
I'm
to
just
these things on a
disappointed.
podcast.
So, she's like, yeah, I could teach you a thing or two about magic. And I was like, okay, great. So, I then get an idea for the type of deck I would like to construct and how to go about doing this. I then receive advice from this person on how to put together this sort of deck, and I get a recommendation like, hey, there's a 2022 like starter deck thing that you can buy that, like, these are specifically built to be, like, vaguely competitive level, like, beginner, like, this will get you, like, get your foot in the door sort of deck. And then on top of that, like, I had referenced, like, oh, there's this, like, specific set of cards that, like, I'm kind of in, like, there was a recent release or whatever that, like, had a lot of, like, manga-inspired, like, ink, like, drawn cards that looked really sick, and that was one of the more recent things that made me go, like, oh, fuck, maybe I should give Magic a try, sort of thing, and I had referenced that. Long story short, that starter deck that was labeled a 2022 starter deck, half the cards are now illegal in the standard rotation.
Oops.
Cool.
And the more I talked with my other friends who also, like, know a lot about Magic the Gathering, they were kind of like, I don't think this person really knows what they're talking about, and I think they made you waste a lot of money getting you into Magic the Gathering. I have since learned that person doesn't really actually know all that much about Magic the Gathering. I think I just got told to waste a lot of my money.
I'll fetch the dog.
So, long story short, I think I might still kind of give Magic a try. I don't think I'm going to learn through that person, though.
Yeah, Magic the Gathering honey trap. Like, ridiculous.
Yeah.
So what was the name of the deck?
So
Yeah?
the name of the deck is the 2022 White Aggro Starter Deck, which is not a good name. Like, I understand that makes
it's
sense.
a white deck.
It's a white deck, and it's about playing aggressive. It's the White Aggro deck. It makes me feel
Seems
like
true
when
to
I'm
life.
buying it, I'm being... It just feels like when I'm buying it, I'm being put on a watch list somewhere. It's like, we gotta make sure this guy isn't fucking stocking up on, like, canned goods and firearm ammunition.
Grand Wizards of the Coast.
So yeah, anyways, this weekend, she texted me, was like, so, you want to go to Friday Night Magic? And I was like, I'm gonna be busy. I wasn't busy, I was streaming Who's Lila.
That's a kind of busy.
Well, hey, those friends didn't make me waste a bunch of fucking...
Now, see, if you got into Yu-Gi-Oh, then anything would be legal.
Yeah, see,
No,
I don't think that's true.
I have one of my best friends is a Yu-Gi-Oh player. That is extremely not true. He is, oh my god, his whole life revolved around just this cycle of we're back, it's over, of getting the perfect, getting like a perfect deck for this this format, and then seeing the ban list and be like, that's it, I'm done, I'm not winning fucking nothing. He was good at Yu-Gi-Oh, but that meant he was a monster. He would play Master Duel on my PlayStation. I downloaded it because he was living with me, and he was like, I'm gonna show you how I beat people on Master Duel. And he had built a deck that was literally it just made playing so annoying that his opponents would quit. And I was like, is that so? You're not trying to win the game, you're trying to make them stop playing the game. He's like, that's winning. I was like, I mean, yeah, sure.
I respect that.
It's yeah, but yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh.
I win the duel if my duel disc just shoots you.
Yu-Gi-Oh seems all kinds of fucked up, but Magic seems consistent, at least in that everyone is basically playing the same game. Everyone in Yu-Gi-Oh is playing a completely different game, which is true to the anime. It seems like.
Yeah.
So credit where it's due. I've always found Yu-Gi-Oh very funny because it's like, what if a drug from like an episode of Law and Order became a real drug?
Yeah.
That people took.
It is funny that like it starts off as a one-off game in the manga and then it just becomes the manga because they made a real
the entire thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my brief tangent on Yu-Gi-Oh. Seems fucked up.
So, do you want to get to the last of my crimes this week?
Oh my god. There are more? Go ahead.
Nikke, Goddess of Victory is an immersive sci-fi RPG shit.
You weren't lying. We have to kill you.
You know, I forgot that you posted that screenshot earlier.
I think I spotted that you had posted something about Nikke, and my brain had just like not processed. Like, I was just like, I must be sleepy, and put down my phone.
Nikke, Goddess of Victory.
Sorry, I have an alien cold.
Gotcha's killing Mel. Anyways, I downloaded the big ass third person shooter
is
game.
allowed to frame this the way he wants. I'm gonna tell you. Nikke is the game that you've seen the clips of where it's the third person shooter and the ass jiggles like it's made of jelly.
Yeah, and then when you reload, the boobs jiggle like they're made of jelly. So, I downloaded this for a bit, and I played a little bit of it and streamed it over Discord for my friends so we could laugh at the egregiously horny art. There's a point in this that I posted a screenshot to Twitter because I'm like, this is genuinely the funniest fucking thing a gacha writer has ever been paid to write.
Oh, yes.
And it's this...
Yes.
It is this, like... the biggest booby fucking like gun toting like gotcha lady you've ever fucking seen in your life, and she's like, well, when the commander looks at us, they aren't thinking about sex, and I just lost it. It was so fucking funny.
This was the thing that I saw, and I was like, I don't think I made the connection quite.
I did, and I was going to ask about it, but then I forgot.
So, the plot of this game is Nier Automata, which is funny because they're doing a collab right now, which is also part of the reason I'm like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna roll for A2. It's just Nier Automata, like, there's human commanders, and then they have android wife soldiers that shoot the evil robots real good, and sometimes they can get captured and corrupted and turned into evil robots if they get stuck behind enemy lines.
Do they get new sexy outfits when they're evil?
No, they just get, like, sicko eye. Well, they do get wrapped into, like, wire tentacles, and I'm like, oh, of course they fucking do.
Yeah, naturally.
Because the big tragic... spoilers for the prologue. you get
for
rescued. Yeah. You get rescued by this one lady, and it's like, oh, okay, she's gonna be, like, the main girl of the gotcha thing. And then you rescue 2 other soldier ladies. And then... one of the 2, after you fight through wave after wave of robot, is like, hold on, we're going in the wrong direction. And then the one who saved you initially goes sicko mode, and then the prologue ends with you having to put a bullet in her brain, but you can't do it because you love her so much, and she grabs the hand and gently puts it at her forehead, and it's like, it's okay, you can pull the trigger. And it's like, oh wow, damn.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care, actually, though. It is everything that you think this would be. It is just doing the, like, oh, but you don't have to worry, we don't have emotions or feel things because we're robots, but they obviously feel things and have emotions and personalities. I will give
Nikke this. It is the most obviously outlandish version of this possible. It is hilarious to look at, and
yes,
because of this, there is no way it can attempt to pretend to be anything more.
It is a game single-handedly made for gooners who are also subscribed to r/firearms.
I thought
like
Girls Frontline already existed, but you know.
Oh, you know.
I guess this is like,
yeah,
for even the lower rung.
Genshin gets to pretend. Genshin gets to pretend that this is you know. We're doing real story, and I get it. I get that they've got people working on it who are trying to do that, obviously. But Nikke can't pretend. Nikke has to be honest.
Yeah,
I feel like even like Girls Frontline probably has a better odds of being more written.
I will give this game 1 point of credit. Well, okay, 2 points of credit. Honestly, shooting fun enough. It's, like, nothing special, but I'm just like, yeah, this is, like, a solid third-person shooter with, like, a skill-based system, and, like, depending on, like, what's needed during the fight, you have, like, 5 different party members to, like, switch between that all have different weapons and stuff. Like, there's stuff going on there. I'm like, okay, this is, like, a video game. It's, like, very mindless. You can auto-battle everything. It'll just shoot for you and shit, but, like, I'm like, there's, like, enough going on here, I guess. I'm not gonna keep playing this, but, the second, I have to give this at least credit over Azure Lane, which I was like, similarly, what if I download the funny battleship gotcha thing where all the battleships are girls for a bit, and then I got 20 minutes in and I was like, these character designs, everyone involved with the making of this game belongs in a prison.
Oh, right. Because you know, in real life, some
children.
So in real life, now I don't know if you know this about battleships, but in real life, in the Navy, some ships are big and some ships are small. Now, if you're a gacha game designer, I guess there's only one possible conclusion to make about how to design these characters.
Yeah, and I was like, I hope everyone involved with this gets tried in front of a court. It was not great, so I uninstalled that. So I have to give Nikke credit over that. At least there was nothing objectionable in terms of like, oh god, like what are you doing on that front. Instead, you just like roll, and then you get a character who in her bio it's like, oh yeah, she's a masochist who loves shotguns, and then you click on her and she goes, I like to have my body do the talking. And I'm like, okay, you fucking know what you're making this for. I rolled on the limited time banner to get A2 twice, and I got it on my second time, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, I'm not playing this anymore. Then also, she has like an alternate outfit that it's like, buy our $20 limited time pass to get her alternate outfit, and I'm like, this is a crime. So yeah, those are my crimes of the week.
Now, why did you admit to any of this?
For the content.
Criminal.
The podcast.
Well, it's like you just really like to get up on stage and reveal your deepest feelings for everyone to see, no matter how embarrassing it is. Now,
Yeah.
speaking of this is a much less good segue. Mel and I watched an anime. It was the only anime that I watched this season, and I only started watching it fairly recently because some people were talking about it. Some word of mouth was getting around about...
I saw a Tokyo Subway ad.
You saw a Tokyo Subway ad. Some word of mouth was getting around about this new Bandori anime. About one of their new... They got like 2 new bands that came out that started like fairly recently, and one of them's called MyGo and one of them's called Ave Musica, and they've got like 2 anime coming out. They started with MyGo, they're going to shift into Ave Musica, and all the girls in these 2 bands are like existing in like at the same time, and they're kind of connected to each other tangentially. Now, Okay.
Red, I'm gonna... Actually, no. I'll let you go. I'll let you continue before I...
Well, the one thing I want to say is because this was not like a bocce show. This did not get big like bocce. This did not get huge. This is a CG anime. This is not the most...
It is also related to an existing gacha property.
Yes, it's related to an existing gacha property. But just, you know, I don't think people listening have necessarily watched this, and I think people should watch it. I think this anime is very good, and so we're going to talk about this on hard mode. I really want to avoid like getting into like spoilers. Which I realize is tricky because like the juice is like it's in some of the details. But broadly, do you want to tell me what Bandori is?
Me?
I was asking Mel. Do you like know?
I just know it's the band gacha game. So the thing
that I found out about it that I was like, oh, okay, hang on. I should watch this. Was of the bands that exist in Bandori, there's like 8 of them or something. 5 of them can all perform. Like the voice actors can all perform the music live. And I was like, oh, okay, that's not what I was expecting. That's cool. So, you know, I've watched MyGo perform live on YouTube in real life. And I was like, okay, this is sick. MyGo, one of their new bands. This show is about, I guess we'll start with, a band breaks up called Krychik, and a girl who's a loser called Anon, who was not related to the band.
Why does this keep happening, or is this the same show?
No, who was Anon in the last thing?
I think this is the same. Anon keeps wait, no, Anon came up. Alien Anon. There was an alien Anon.
There was an alien Anon. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Because I knew this has happened before on this podcast.
This time it's a girl named Anon. If you don't know what MyGo is, my tweets might have been confusing because I've been posting about Anon and how cool Anon is, which is going to be like, that doesn't seem like Red's vibe.
I know. Now, Red. Before you continue, I had an important question I wanted to ask you.
Yes.
How do you feel about Anon's troubled backstory being the British schooling system?
So Anon went to go study in England and returned from Japan. Apparently didn't have a great time in England. It's there's a fantastic scene that is just like probably kind of the only like flashback scene of her studying in England where all the characters are speaking in English and they're all speaking like, you know, they're all Japanese voice actors attempting to speak English, and then one girl says, just in like pure British accent, just, anyone got my book? And I lost it. I nearly fell out of my chair.
Cut to someone talk about how they want to be a CEO to help people.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna get an MBA. That's Britain. Yeah, that's Britain through and through. Yes. Anyway, the substance of this show is Anon comes back to Japan and joins a school where loads of people are like in bands, and she's like, I'm gonna start a band. I'm gonna start a band with the class mascot, who is the lonely autistic kid. And it's from there, her having to navigate the fact that clearly something happened with this girl in a past band that broke up fairly recently, and so like 3 members of that old band. This is not a spoiler. This is just in the OP. 3 members of that old band wind up cooperating with Anon to make this new band. And it's like, there's some toxicity. The girls are using each other. That is like the core like foundation of the show, is the girls are using each other because they want things from each other. They like, Anon is like, wants to be cool, wants to be popular, is like trying to get her perfect school life, which you know, I moved around a lot, so I can relate to that. Just like being like, well, you know, this time I'm just gonna do it right. Nothing can go wrong. I've had practice, so I'll just be cool this time. And the heart of the band is the autistic girl. And I don't. Mel, what do you want to talk about with MyGo?
I like how in the early parts of the show, Anon, it feels like almost a parody of the typical idol anime protagonist, where she's like, oh man, I'm gonna make a band, but I keep running into people with like all their issues or hang-ups to join my band, and she's just like, oh no. Anyway.
Yeah. Anon is a fantastic protagonist for this show, for you know, for more reasons than just it's funny, but it is extremely funny that she kind of just sucks. She's just like selfish and just like very blatantly selfish, and just like, well, I think I should be in front and center of the band, even though I'm playing backup guitar. I think, you know, the singer can maybe stand behind me. She
keeps trying to insert her name into the band name.
Yeah, it's gonna be called Anon Tokyo.
I got interested in watching the show when like I listened to a podcast our friend Catherine guested on for Fate Moon Archive, where they talked about the show, and they described Anon as like evil Bochi, in that she's good at talking to people but is terrible at guitar.
Damn.
Yeah, she is evil Bochi. the thing about Anon is this now. This is maybe me being. If I was to be arch, I would maybe describe MyGo as a show about 5 girls with like different varieties of mental illness, rather than just having the one autistic girl. I would describe Anon as someone who is not good at talking to people and has just gone out of her way to try to practice. Which it's how she comes across to me, and there's like 3 other members of the band. The drummer and the bassist were both in the previous band, and the lead guitar is like this fucking weirdo. Who
She shows up.
She shows up. They call her a stray cat.
She's like a cryptid.
Yeah. They feed her sweets, and she plays the guitar when she feels like it. And she describes the other members. When asked why she's in the band, she's like, there are interesting women in it. So it's like, okay, don't call them women. Don't do that. You're giving off a vibe. The thing that's happening here is like there's a thesis in this show about why the old band didn't last, like in terms of like why it was a failure, why it ended like catastrophically, and why this new band can succeed. And it's just fundamentally like this idea that all of the girls are just selfish, and want things from each other and are using each other, kind of. And it's just that you can keep that a secret if you want. Things will go bad. If you pursue what you want from other people honestly, you can find common ground and make connections. And so it's, there's a part of me that's like, this is like instructional on how to be friends. Like when you're not like, you don't have to be an especially good person. You don't have to be a hero to be friends with the autistic kid in your class that has issues. You just, just be honest. Or at least, come across honestly in terms of like, it's tricky to explain. Anyway, and so, but there's a lot of drama with one of the members of the old band who really can't let go of the old band.
Yeah, I had an arc with that character because I was like, at first I was like, yeah, she exists, and then she does the thing, and then I'm like, oh, fuck this bitch, and then a few episodes later, I'm like warmed back up to her. Because she's just her vibes are totally different and she's more fun, and I'm like, actually I relate to her a bit, but it's just funny how much she just goes from like the token overly friendly polite person, and then after like all of the drama happens and like they reconnect everything, she's just like the one who doesn't tolerate anyone's shit. Because she just there was a part of me where I was like, episode 1, I was like, oh, hang on, you might be bad news. I was like, oh, hang on. But yeah, a little too friendly.
Well, yeah. It's a good show, and Tomori, the girl who's like the heart of the band, is just fantastic. Is just a really good. This is a really good show, just in terms of just I would say the peak of the show is probably like episode 10.
Yeah, I feel like episode 10 is like where like kind of like the climax, like resolution. Everything is kind of like after that's both like wind down epilogue and also the rival being Nick Fury to set up the sequel. Yes.
So the thing about the last episode of the show is that it's mostly a trailer for the next season, which is going to be about the other band, Ave Nikke, who are
The characters like show up throughout the show.
Yes.
But I will say that they only really have scene time together in like the last episode, which makes the last episode feel weird.
Yes, the last episode feels a little weird as a trailer, but I guess you got to do it in terms of setting up the next season. I will be here no matter what because I have to, the other characters, they have to be involved, kind of, because that's you know.
And also I also want more insight into what the fuck happened with the old band, because
Yeah, I mean, so the thing with the old band for me is, I think my general feeling is that it's a thing where, like, so someone leaves the band at the beginning of the show, leaves the old band at the very beginning of the show, and then the rest of them can't keep the band up. They all go their separate ways, because like this loss is like devastating for them. The show thinks that the problem is, I think the show believes that actually that person leaving the band should not have been a big deal. Everyone could have just been normal about it. It didn't have to be band ending. But it's just that, people were, they were not approaching it honestly again. And there's something about the new band where it's like all these girls are using each other, and they're just honest about the fact that they are using each other by the end, I would say. I think it's good. I think it's like a very down to earth view on what it's like to make friends when you're a teenager. Which is like, you don't, your friends aren't like necessarily the best people in the world. They're just, the people you hang out with and spend time with, because, you're getting something out of each other. It's and then the friendships happen, and then you ride or die, and that's how it works. That's how it happens. There's this kind of like thing about like how to get what you want, how to like how to ask someone to give you what you want from them without being like evil to them, is kind of that's why I think Anon is like a really great protagonist for the show, because like she's kind of the only person who can handle one of the characters being a little fucked up and evil. It's a good anime. I think it's a really good anime. I think people should watch it. It's
I'd argue the cryptid can handle whatever.
Oh, the cryptid can handle anything, but that's different. She's so good. She sends a text round, says, I want to do the band. And I'm like, I'm gonna run with this. I know that's not what you mean, but
I am just hoping that, like, I'm looking forward to getting more context in the second season for the other girls, just because like they keep showing up in the season.
Yeah,
and like I think one character I end up liking is like the one girl who's like Taki's classmate, and I was just like, who are you? And then like later it's like, oh, I still know who you are, but I do think you're cool.
She is cool.
Fits.
She is.
Gender as fuck.
The thing about Ave Musica is that it's it seems way more high melodrama, which I realize the appeal of MyGo is all the girls have drama, but it seems like, I don't know, it's just
the vibes feel a bit off, because like since I don't know as much about these characters that got Nick Furied into the band, it just feels like one character is just like join my emo band and wear a mask.
Yeah, quit your job, join my emo band.
And it feels like all the other characters out know their problems, and so I'm like, why are you here?
It's also just it's leaning into, ooh, this is a little fucked up, and I'm like, okay,
does it get twisted?
It's they're a little twisted. They're a masked band. They keep it all a secret.
Like I just needed more context of like their relationship, because otherwise I'm just like, oh, you now they're in a band for some reason, but what is their motivations?
Yeah, Anyway, Mel, who among the band would you say is most like you for real? I'm picking Anon. Absolutely. I said this on Twitter. I said, with regret, I feel this most for Anon. I no longer feel regret. My hero.
To some degree, Tomari, but also with regret to some degree, Sayo.
No, this is allowed. This is allowed. There has to be Soyos in the world.
It's okay if you just hide it.
No, it's not. That's the message of the show. That's the opposite. Anyway, yeah, I really liked MyGo. Oh.
It was funny when Anon was saying the name of the band in the 11th episode.
Yeah. It's MyGo.
It's MyGo.
It's MyGo.
Soya was like, what the fuck does that mean? Does it mean it's your turn? What? Explain yourself.
Yeah, it's MyGo.
MyGo to the polls.
It's MyGo to the polls. Alright. Well, my message to the listener. If you can put up with CG animation, you're fine. It's like they do some pretty cool stuff with it, but like, you know, it's not like a super expensive show. But I think it works for what it is. It's good. Go watch MyGo. There's like 13 episodes of it. All right.
Do it.
PSA over. Do we have anything else, or do we want to talk about Ultraseven?
You should talk about Ultraseven.
We should talk about Ultraseven.
I'm good to go.
Let me tell you about... All right, Eurovision. Let me... You're not going to get that. That's okay. Let me tell you about...
MyGo wasn't at Eurovision. It's useless.
Every year Eurovision happens, and it's like I'm watching European Twitter act like G Gundam is happening in real time.
Yeah. Maybe this is why I don't like G Gundam, is I have Eurovision. We get that fake shit out of here. This is the... we got the corruption and everything. Alright, episode 28, the 700-kilometer run.
Yes. I think the Blu-ray said sprint.
That's fair, I guess. But I wouldn't call it a sprint. I would call it a long distance. I would call it a marathon.
Before you end the summary, I made like a tweet the other day that encapsulates this entire episode plot in a single tweet. Do you want that before or after the summary?
No, give me before.
Yeah.
Okay, so my tweet,
this.
which I retweeted on the official on the podcast account, is: Captain, how do we transport this bomb? Protagonist, who's really into rally racing this week, does a smile, and then a dinosaur attached to a tank roar.
That's the episode. That's the whole episode. Spina is a highly volatile substance that is undergoing testing. The Ultra Guard is tasked with delivering Spina to the test site. But there are enemies trying to interfere with the test, and so the team needs to devise a way to transport Spina secretly. Dan, who really, really wants to race cars, is like, yo, there's a long-distance motor race coming up. I could put the Spina in the trunk and race my way to the test site. The plan, somehow, is approved, and Amagi is assigned as Dan's navigator, much to the dismay of Amagi, who has an acute, irrational fear of dying in an explosion.
Same.
The race is on, and the rest of the Ultra Guard accompany the racers in a jeep, keeping up with the pit stops, ready to provide support. Dan and Amagi have to fight off a number of threats, including a motorcyclist that Dan guns down, an explosive trap that gets triggered by a car that overtook them, and gunmen in the middle of the night who are dispatched by Sogo with a machine gun hidden in his mandolin.
So good. This episode's insane.
It's so good. But not before they plant a bomb on the Spina. The captain commands Amagi to disarm the bomb, despite his irrational fear of dying in an explosion.
Dan offers, like, okay, I got this, and the captain goes, no, Amagi got this.
And Amagi's like, no, I fucking don't. Amagi succeeds and doesn't have to die in an explosion, which would have caused him a real fright. Dan and Amagi have to fight off one more attack from a bunch of helicopters, and then they're home free. They deliver the Spiner, and the captain reveals, gotcha, is a fake. I was training you, Amagi, to suppress your irrational fear of dying in an explosion.
This is when I would fucking quit.
Amagi's really grateful.
You ain't getting to 2 weeks. Yeah, he's like, oh, thanks. You really did help me out. Help get me out of my shell, bud.
I'm not scared of dying in explosions anymore. The real Spiner is in the Jeep. A trick within a trick to keep the Spiner truly safe. Except, is it truly safe when it can be attacked at any time by a dinosaur riding tank tracks? It erupts from the ground. Where did it get the tank tracks?
I cannot tell. Is it a dinosaur riding a tank, or is it supposed to be a dinosaur whose bottom, like Armored Core style, has tank tracks?
It's attached to the tank.
Oh my god.
It's a dinosaur tank.
It's so fantastic. Anyway, everyone has to hide away in the bunkers of the test site. Dan almost gets buried under rubble and dirt, but transforms into Ultraseven and defeats the kaiju tank by letting it roll over the capsule of Spiner and then blowing up the Spiner. Amagi leads the search to find and rescue Dan, and they take him away on
reburies himself in the dirt.
Committed to the bit.
He does.
Committed.
They take him away on a stretcher as he muses about their harsh duty. Amagi did his duty. I will do mine. We will protect the Earth. The end. I would like to thank, I can't remember his name, but the guy who's always emailing us. Thank you for your emails. You are absolutely right. This is also a new favorite episode of the show.
Yes. Yes. What I cannot believe how this episode, every scene, I'm like, they're making this up as they go along. And it's somehow incredible every step of the way.
The fucking mandolin was so...
So apparently, Soga's actor actually could play the mandolin. He was actually playing it in that scene.
Oh my god.
That's
perfect.
Incredible.
Yeah, there's almost like no place to start because our entire discussion of this episode is going to be, and then this.
I think we need to loop back to the start and point out that all of this happened. It's from there from the beginning because it opens with like Dan enthusiastically at a theater with Anne eating like a giant cracker and endowing people in the audience. And then the next scene is that like he and Anne are in the teacups and he's like, man, I want to join a rivalry race. And he starts doing car noise like, oh,
Dan is so good. Just a fucking child. This is Ultraseven saw a fucking movie about cars and was like, bro, I'm gonna drive a fucking car. And they're like, well, you drive the Pointer all the time. No, the real shit.
I will say for whatever reason the car they have can also hover.
Yeah, it could. So
it got picked up by a helicopter.
I very briefly mentioned the helicopter attack. I didn't mention that the helicopter's attack by dropping like a mine, like a sticky mine, onto the top of the car, and then it
creates like a bubblegum hot air balloon that lifts the car off the ground,
and they have to fight off the helicopters in the sky, and then burst the balloon, and then just hover their way down using their car, which can hover apparently.
And Amagi uses like a gun to shoot down one of the helicopters that erupts in the greatest fireball that they linger on. It is absurd, the explosive force that this helicopter had with it.
When you say
funny.
They were making it up as they go along, absolutely, because they have a plan for the episode when they start the race. They have like Dan and Amagi are in the car and they're like discussing like people who joined the race after they joined the race, who applied to join the race after they applied to join the race. And they're all suspicious. They're like 3 different cars who are all like possible suspects who could be after Spiner. and it's like this, oh, it's gonna be tense. We're gonna get like this tense race. No, absolutely not. We're gonna get suddenly a guy on a motorbike comes out of nowhere. Dan dodges him. Suddenly, Dan pops out of the car, shoots the guy on the motorbike, explodes. Dan comes back in the car and says to Amagi, "Yeah, I knew that guy was an alien." This is an absurd.
And then like the scene where like leading up to the time bomb thing or whatever, and the fucking like surprised my instrument is a gun. Like they just like hear a noise when they're like parked for the night or whatever, and the rest of the Ultra Guard are just camping out, having a good old time around a campfire, and then they go, "Wait a minute, you left the explosives unattended."
Oh yeah. That's the scene where Soga's playing the mandolin.
Yeah.
Some racers just go past them and turn a corner and explode.
Yeah, and it's like, wow, lucky they caught the trap for us. Are they gonna send letters to their family? Like, sorry, you got caught in the crossfire of our secret war.
It is funny that like the aliens just don't even have suits.
No,
They just don't have them.
Yeah, they're just people. They're just Mr. Ons.
There is a name in the background material, but it's like not in the episode at all. And it's a really
I love too when the dinosaur tank shows up and the fucking someone just goes like, "Ah, that must be their fortress."
Now, Mel, I believe I know what the name of these aliens are. Could you tell us what the name of the aliens in this episode are called?
They're called Alien Kill.
Now, that's the hardest name for an alien. Why you wouldn't mention it in the show? Beyond me. It's Alien Kill.
That goes so hard.
Steve Harvey voice.
Yeah.
Kill.
Yes.
Say jam voice. All right, folks. Is it gonna kill?
I'm gonna submit Ultraseven clips to Sage.
But yeah, this episode is perfect. I wouldn't change a goddamn thing.
It's
I like the screenshot of Seven trying to ride the tank.
Oh, okay. Actually, can we comment on during the fight? The Ultraseven's hand gets run over, and to add insult to injury, the dinosaur then uses his tail to swat at him after running him over. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's really good.
to be clear, if you haven't watched the episode 1, you should watch the episode 2. It is just a person in a suit just riding tracks. Just around. They're like, oh my god, it's a dinosaur tank fortress. It's the aliens' fortress. And then they put it on screen, and it's a person in a dinosaur suit riding tank tracks around.
Now, Mel, I have to ask. Was Tohru Narita a piss baby about this one?
Well, let's get into the trivia.
I'm gonna kill this man. Who I imagine might already be dead.
So as alluded to, yes, this is a design that Tohru Narita famously despised designing.
Shut up, nerd.
Rest in peace. Passed away 2002, by the way.
Yeah, that it's been over 20 years. I can speak ill of the dead. Loser.
Yeah, he was not a fan of this design at all. I think the quote I got on Ultopia is "This is based on a bizarre idea of a dinosaur on a tank, but I personally don't like to design something like this."
You
Now,
personally
to be
think
fair to
whatever
the
you
man,
want. Do your job. I guess he did.
I can understand how, from an artist's perspective, this is a remarkably boring design in comparison to like, oh, I can make anything. But also, when it shows up in the show, it is cool as fuck.
Yeah, but yeah, he didn't like this one. Put a pin in that.
Has he got more to say later in this episode?
We'll cover it in a little bit.
Yeah, nice.
Okay.
Do we have...
Anyway.
Go ahead.
The dinosaur portion of the suit, by the way, was made by Risaku Takayama, who made a lot of the Ultra 7 kaiju suits. But the dinosaur portion was designed without legs because it was supposed to be like dinosaur attached to the tank. Okay. The tank itself was borrowed from another studio called Nikatsu, and it was previously used in their movie Gappa the Triphibian Monster, which is another kaiju movie.
Interesting.
Nice. Do we have any production notes on this?
Yeah, I was about to say, I might as well cover that stuff since we're kind of on it already. This episode was directed by Kazuho Mitsuda and then written by Shozo Uehara, who I want to point out, every time we get an Uehara episode, some we like better than others. Like, he also did Search for Tomorrow, the episode with the fortune teller. Don't predict alien invasion sort of deal. The Dan episode, where we got the backstory. And then also the one with the toys coming to life. Or being controlled by the aliens, basically. Every time we get an episode written by him, he's very playful in a way that I do appreciate, even if,
can you remind me,
some of his episodes are better than others.
Can you remind me again which Ultraman episodes he did? Because I think he did, one of the last session ones.
Yes, let me see. I have that in a separate document. I will look for it, but I'll also...
Shojo Uehara, just to remind the audience, also would go on to write the first 5 seasons of Super Sentai.
Yes, here... Boss Dang and Statue of Goga episodes of Ultra Q, and then the Monster Anarchy Zone and the Visit to the Strange Planet penultimate episode of Ultraman.
Okay. Yeah, I thought he did the Planet one.
Real mix, but he's having fun.
Yeah, honestly, and I kind of respect that. He doesn't always hit, but he is doing stuff that's different in a way that I appreciate.
This is certainly different.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a...
What if Sega Rally Championship?
I was gonna say, when Dan at the start of this episode is me when I'm just doing nothing all day but listening to the Ridge Racer Type 4 soundtrack.
Man, I should race cars.
Yeah.
Everyone who's ever watched Initial D is like, I should get a fucking Toyota.
They should have got Dan's actor instead of a Kaz Hirai for that one E3.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, do we have anything more to say about this episode beyond it's the coolest thing in the world and it's really goofy?
I must confess a sin.
Confess your sins.
I knew about Dinosaur Tank for a long time. I specifically wanted to be around for the episode of it, so I went and checked which episode to be in to make sure I wasn't in Japan for the episode.
That is incredible, and I am impressed by your commitment to, 1, not telling us, and 2, ensuring you were here for this.
It's probably top 10 Ultra 7 guys for me is Dinosaur in a Tank.
Oh, same.
I can't wait.
100%.
I can't wait to see where it shows up on our kaiju sorters. God. Which, by the way, I'll as a behind the scenes look to our audience. I will say I've been building the kaiju sorter as we go this time instead of all at once last week.
Having the worst weekend the night before sort of deal.
And I will say that as of this episode, the kaijus in this episode, we got 43 guys in the sorter, which for comparison in the Ultraman sorter, 43 represents Siposu.
Oh man.
It's let me just check real quick how many guys are in the Ultraman sorter in total, because it was
we're 60 something.
50 it's 50 guys in Ultraman. We are halfway through Ultra 7. We will surpass it.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Well, if we are done with episode 28, we can move on to episode 29. The Earthling, all alone. Is that okay?
I think
Yes.
so.
Cool. After last week, Soga has wasted no time at all in acquiring a fiancé. The lucky woman, Saika, who either studies or works at a university whose physics department has just launched a satellite into space. The problem? Well, a university just launched a satellite into space, and so Dan has been investigating and discovered alien material on the satellite. Or something like that. Some kind of alien signal, I think, actually. Someone involved with this project is an alien. Psycho tells Soga that she thinks she saw an alien in Dr. Niwa's office one night, but had dismissed it as her imagination. Also, his assistant, Ichinomiya, has started acting strangely. She used to be good friends with him, but now he is so cold to everyone, and is only interested in talking to Dr. Niwa. Saika tries to lure Ichinomiya to a meeting with the Ultra Guard, but Ichinomiya catches on and reveals he isn't an alien, but Dr. Niwa is. He just snitches immediately.
Martin.
Doesn't need any interrogation. And the Ultra Guard he's like, the Ultra Guard is too quick to judge Niwa as an invader. He's just a nice old man who believes in my ideas and will bring them to fruition and help me escape this terrible Earth which is worthless and should die and fix my life and everything. In case you were wondering, none of that is true. Meanwhile, Soga tries to apprehend Niwa, but is caught by surprise when Niwa transforms into an alien. He's knocked out and kept hostage in Niwa's secret lab with the experimental teleporter. I believe this is the thing that Ichinomiya has helped him create. Ichinomiya returns and is like, damn, it's a shame they think you're scheming. And Niwa's like, yeah, anyway, time to initiate my scheme. And Ichinomiya's not having it. He gets into a fight with Niwa, which he's gonna lose, but Dan intervenes, and now it's Ultraseven time. They crash through the window of the office and have a really cool fight outside the university where they just have a pyramid. Ultraseven is busy fighting a bunch of just apparitions of Niwa in alien kaiju form.
This is the most Nintendo 64-ass boss fight shit that has ever happened in Ultra 7.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Niwa tries to escape using the teleporter. But Ichinomiya proves he still loves Earth after all and he will not discard its safety for the sake of himself. He dives onto the teleporter at the same time as Niwa and says, I wonder what happens when a one-person teleporter has two people in it. And then they both vanish and we don't get to know what happens. Dan wonders where Ichinomiya might have gone. He might be dead, or he might be trapped somewhere, or perhaps adrift in the cosmos, waiting to be found. Maybe he'll return one day. The end.
No, we got one more scene.
One more thing?
Of what's her name?
Passing your
Psycho.
door.
We get the bookend of her walking down the hallway.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
And she hears something in the old office, and then the narrator she decides not to check it out, and the narrator helpfully says, "Oh, it wasn't even an alien this time. It was a trick played by the spring breeze."
Yeah. He's like, she's going to grab the door and she stops herself, and the narrator says, "Oh, it might be an alien though.
Might be an alien.
Might be an alien. Maybe you shouldn't look. If you don't look, then is an alien really there?"
If you don't look with your ESP, it won't be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What we're learning is that Ultraseven's position on if a tree falls in the forest, does it make it where and no one hears it, does it make a sound, is no, and that also applies to alien invasions.
Yeah. If you just do your part to not be aware of the problem, it's good.
In which case, the Ultra Guard are the greatest defenders against Earth's safety. They should take down all their satellites. They should stop scanning for signals, and then no aliens will ever. This is why no aliens invaded before the Ultra Guard existed.
Yeah.
This is how humanity survived. That, and also Ultra 7 being ancient aliens, Bluestone of Baradi, Ultraman stuff.
I liked this episode a lot, actually.
Yeah.
I think, like, I feel like I'm kind of a sucker for this thing of, like, guy who is really fucking fed up, thinks the world is a horrible place, but then, like, oh yeah, we're gonna blow the shit up out of this place and take it over. He's like, no, the fuck you're not. No, like, always gets me. His little heroic sacrifice at the end, where he's like, I'm not sure what this is gonna do, but I know it's gonna at least get rid of the problem for now. I adored, and I love that we do not get an answer.
Mm-hmm. It's someone on fucking Quora or whatever asking like, what happens if two people stand on the Star Trek transport beams at the same time, and Ichinomiya is just like, I don't fucking know. It's probably bad. It's pretty cool. It's pretty hardcore.
One thing I wanted to note: did either of you are either of you aware of the Flatwoods monster? Speaking of cryptids,
No.
I am not.
okay, I'm gonna send you a photo. This is a cryptid, like alien sighting from like I want to say 1952 in West Virginia of the United States. That for some reason really took off in Japanese pop culture and has been the inspiration for many different designs, including like the aliens that show up in Majora's Mask, a lot of like RPG enemy type stuff. It's notable, like the most notable part about this is it has like, it looks kind of robotic, is wearing like some sort of like skirt or robe, and then the head looks like an ace of spades is how like the kid who saw it described it.
Right.
And glowing red eyes. And I have a suspicion that this monster was, the design of this one was based off of this creature.
Let me look it up again. Ultraseven.
It's not exactly a
it's-
spade, but it fans out in a very similar manner.
So it's a cult alien prote, just for the reference.
I do see it.
Okay.
Did you say it's a dual type?
Dual type?
Did you say occult alien prote? it's a Pokemon with two types, right?
Oh. I don't know the occult part. But
I'm looking at alien prote.
alien pro.
Oh, I probably misheard the word cold.
Oh.
That's what's happening to me. Yeah, I kind of see it on the head. Yeah. The two big eyes help.
I can't find any confirmation of this in like my source for the background stuff for kaiju, but that's an interesting thing.
The fight is cool.
It's cool. They just like, I will say it is a bit weird. Like, why are you guys suddenly big now? But it's cool. They made like a miniature version of the university campus to fight in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's they're getting inventive with the fights now. Like in terms of like someone agrees with me. Someone agreed with me. Someone was like, it's weird that we played the victorious music when Ultraseven killed the monster.
Oh, actually, apparently, in the Dino Tank episode, they like didn't want to put the theme so that they could like partly for like the tension and also partly so you could actually hear the tank treads going.
Oh, sick.
But it is funny to me that like they didn't do the music for Dinosaur Tank, but they did for the tragic Gyaron.
Yeah, Gyaron. So they're getting inventive in terms of like the ways that fights can go and the ways that fights can start and stuff. And like this one, they jump out the window and then we don't get to see them for a while. We just like pan around like this space as it like lights up, and then they appear out of the shadows, and then fight starts, and then he starts fighting. Ultraseven starts fighting like weird apparitions that appear in the sky, and Dr. Niwa's just in his office like, well,
yeah, it is cool. Like Niwa just basically transports back in the office in the form of like dripping goo.
Yes. Yeah, he does. Oh, I'd forgotten about the goo. Yeah, he's gooey. I like it when the show goes gooey. It's got good goo.
I do think we talked about it in the summary, but it is funny that literally 2 episodes after it gets brought up, Soga now has a fiance.
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
like,
I like how we got like kind of back-to-back Amagi and Soga episodes. This one was less of a Soga episode, I guess. But,
yeah, that's the other thing I was gonna say. It's like this episode's set up like a Soga episode, like an episode about him and his fiance, but it kind of isn't.
Kind of isn't.
It's kind of the same thing that happened with the last Soga episode, where it was mentioned that he didn't have a fiance. Was that it didn't wind up being a Soga episode, but yeah, he's B plot. He's getting B plot. He's gonna have kids by the end of the show. Maybe he'll be divorced.
I don't think any of the Ultra will get divorced.
Rip.
I don't think AG Tsuburaya believes in divorce.
That's how you know that a character who shows up is a villain.
He's divorced. I can't wait for the kaiju design inspired by Henry VIII.
So
Alien divorce.
So Blazer is our first dad Ultraman hero. So next year we're gonna get our first divorce.
Hell fucking yeah! It's time. It's time for divorced representation.
Yeah, I mean, there's some good moments with Soga early in the episode. Him like being like going undercover and then just being like pulling a gun on Niwa is fun.
Yeah, Soga is a cool action man. He's just got,
or at least he tries to be.
Yeah, he could do like
he is the gun guy after all.
He could like he should be in a spy movie.
Yeah.
But in one of those spy movies where like the spy is good, like there are two types of spy movie. There are spy movies where the spy is like the writers are just jerking off the spy all the time about how cool he is, and then there are spy movies where the spy is competent, but being a competent spy does mean you get the shit kicked out of you a lot. And you fail a lot of the time and just like, you know, wind up like very close to death a lot. So I think Soga could be the superior kind of spy, which is the one that gets beat up all the time. Sorry, Soga.
Production stuff?
Yeah, go ahead.
The director was once again Kazuho Mitsuda, and then this was written by Shinichi Ichikawa, who is the one who also did the Captain Kurata episode, The Man Who Came from V3. And then also had done one other one that we talked about recently. Yes, the Furuhashi's mom episode with the alien Kanan and the return of the capsule monsters.
He still hasn't talked to his mother.
No. I will say, I think I'm liking this guy's written episodes.
Yeah.
The Captain Kurata one I can kind of take or leave, but like, I mean, that was still like solid, but the last two he's done here, I've liked a lot.
I have one. Excuse me. I have one more thing for Red specifically.
Oh, go ahead.
Ichinomiya's actor is a guy named Tomoki Kenmochi.
Okay.
He had one other role around this time that I think you may like. He is the Japanese dub voice of Alan Tracy from Thunderbirds.
Let's go! Hell fucking yeah. Hell fucking yeah. That's what it's all about. This is a secret Thunderbirds podcast.
Yeah.
God damn. Alan Tracy. He'd be a decent Alan Tracy. He's whiny enough. Sorry, Alan Tracy. You're all right. You're doing your best. It's difficult not to be whiny when your brothers are like that.
Cannot confirm. Do not have a brother.
Neither do I, but I know what his brothers are like.
I have a brother.
Does he make you kind of whiny sometimes? Is it easy to whine about his antics?
I do whine when he complains about the Wi-Fi, but at least that's not an issue when I have my own place.
Does he pilot the mole or like the spaceship one? Or the
he plays League of
submarine
Legends.
That's so much worse.
You might play Valorant more now, but
That's worse than playing Nikke. All right.
is it?
No, it's really fucking not. The only other thing to mention about this episode is the scene at the beginning where Furuhashi is reading a motorboating magazine that's just called Motorboating, which I'm a grown adult. I am also 12. And
I should retweet that actually right now.
Yeah, I did immediately grab a screenshot of Furuhashi peering over a magazine just called Motorboating.
I have a certified rosin childhood story that is very similar to this.
Okay.
Okay.
When I don't know if this is just like a state of Wisconsin thing. I'm sure it's like to some degree other states in the U.S. do this or whatever too. But one day in high school, they had like when we were in homeroom or whatever, we had to take this like mandatory survey thing that was talking about like this one we were like senior, like about to graduate or whatever, talking about like what do you plan on doing? Are you going to go into the workforce right away? Are you going to college? Like, what interests you? What skills do you feel like you've developed through school? Like, what are your hobbies? Like, it was like a whole like thing, I guess, indexing what like the kids who were about to graduate were supposed to do or whatever. And like this was like, I guess like if you didn't do it right or like if you fucked around and weren't taking it seriously, like the government really got on the school's ass about it. So like all of the teachers were like really high strung about like, okay, you guys need to take this seriously and like answer as accurately as possible or whatever. So we're all taking this fucking thing in silence or whatever. And then we get to the hobbies part, and then one of my classmates, Sam, gets to the hobbies part and just goes, "Oh, I love motorboating."
Fuck's sake.
And the teacher just fucking died. It was I will always remember the look on his face when he said that.
Well, unless we have anything else to say about this episode, we can probably move on to episode 30, Glory for Whom?
Yes. That is a good title also.
Yeah.
There's a new kid in town, whose name I had forgotten by the time I wrote this summary, so I have simply named him the Rookie in disrespect.
He's Aoki,
Aoki.
but you can call him the Rookie.
The Rookie, asshole Rookie, is a prospective new Ultra Guard member, and he's pretty good. Unfortunately, he's bought his own hype. He's constantly showing off, constantly being rude, constantly trying to embarrass everyone else's abilities. On a test flight against Dan, he fires with the intent to kill, and Dan takes it up.
This is the most homoerotic thing I think we've gotten in this show.
They call it Ace Combat lore. Dan takes it upon himself to whip this kid into shape. Oh, maybe you're right. Meanwhile, there's mass training exercises about to take place for the TDF, and the Ultra Guard suspect aliens might intervene. There's a suspicious signal, and Dan takes the Rookie to investigate. The Rookie well and truly interferes, wanting extra credit at all times, launching an attack on the signal from the point without Dan's go-ahead. Now, the Ultra Guard are sure the aliens will attack the training, but they can't cancel it. The Rookie sneaks a beacon onto the magma riser that will lure the enemy. And sure enough, on the day, the aliens take over the magma riser and launch an attack on the rest of the exercise. This is basically the magma riser and a bunch of tiny model tanks all going to war with each other. It's very cute. Dan and the Rookie launch an attack on the magma riser, but the Rookie wants all the glory, so he like runs ahead and lobs grenades at the magma riser, right?
Yeah.
Briefly,
These tanks go down easy.
briefly feeling like he's accomplished some incredible feat, demonstrating his impressive lack of irrational fear, the Rookie gets caught in an explosion and is now dying. Dan raids the magma riser as Ultraseven and engages the alien, which turns into a kaiju. Their fight's pretty sick and ends with them both on the floor, struggling to crawl towards each other and deal the final blow. Ultra 7 gets one more burst of energy and wins the fight. Dan goes to rescue the rookie, and the rookie confesses everything. Dan is infuriated. All these lives lost, all for personal glory. The rookie shoots a kaiju that was over Dan's shoulder, and this kills the kaiju in one shot, and the rookie's like, Go ahead.
Correction. That is the kaiju skeleton, which just reanimates.
Oh, the kaiju skeleton.
Because like Dan, like 7 kills the kaiju, and then like you see like the body fade and the skeleton remain, and then for whatever reason the skeleton just pops up again for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
That's cool. The rookie shoots the skeleton that was over Dan's shoulder, and this kills the skeleton in one shot, and the rookie's like, there we good now? And then Dan dies before Dan can say no.
Yeah, the skeleton looks a lot like the stupid images we get of, like, the guy in Mexico that's like, I found an alien, by the way,
Yeah.
Yes.
which made me laugh.
The Ultra Guards salute his dishonorable corpse. A sad end for a rookie of such fine prospects. Shame he sucked. The end. Was it Aoki?
Yeah.
Aoki.
Rip Aoki should have just been normal.
Yeah, and now that we finished this recording, the episode summary for this episode, I am going to post the shit post I've been having Cook saved for 3 days.
Okay. Should I check Twitter for this?
You can, I guess you can check Twitter if you want.
Let me have a quick look. Okay.
Wait, I'm not getting audio because of how I'm recording this.
Okay. It's the audio that does it. You'll get it later.
Okay. Wait, hold on. I'm going to fix it real quick.
Thank you, Mel. Fucking stupid. All right. So, this episode is pretty good. I like this episode.
Yeah.
Aoki's a cool.
At least 10 guys killed because of one guy.
Yeah, he gets at least 10 guys killed because he's like, I'm gonna surpass Dan. 1, no, you're not. 2, oh boy, you need to calm down. He is like just absolutely classic type of overachieving guy who is just desperate to get other people's acknowledgement, and in doing so keeps offending everyone because he just keeps being like, yeah, you know, should have just done it like me, and everyone's like, what? Shut the fuck up for 5 minutes.
There was like one bit where he was like too reckless with almost shooting down Kiriyama and Dan, and you know, somehow Kiriyama and Dan are just like laughing about it in the office and like, you're pretty good. You could be a member of the Ultra Guard. And he was just like, oh, well, I could have left 2 vacancies in the Ultra Guard. And they're like,
oh, okay. I thank you for bringing this up because I almost forgot. He does the trays thing. He shoots the fucking bird.
Oh God, he does do that. He shoots the bird. He didn't need to shoot the bird. Trays coded. I wish you. Oh God, imagine we got a truly trays coded guy. But yeah,
If one of the like SSSP likes had a trays in it at some point in one of these shows,
I think they could do it. Anyway, yeah, this guy's like one of the stronger one-off characters just for how, extreme he is. And this is like an archetype, but it's good. It's well executed.
yeah, I watched this episode assuming he was going to be behind whatever the fuck, and when like it became apparent, like, oh no, he like they're just doing the hotshot rookie trying to prove himself, gets in too deep over his head thing and pays the price. I was like, oh, okay, no, I respect this a lot actually for just sticking to that.
Yeah, this episode would have been much worse if he was genuinely like if he was an alien assisting the invasion.
Yeah.
yeah, that's definitely a version of this episode that could exist in this, Ultra 7 specifically.
Ultra 7 permanently at risk of making those kinds of episodes all the time.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting when we get away from Ultraseven and back into like more.
When we return to Ultraman.
Yes.
Do you realize what you're about to say and just stop dead?
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's the whole big battle that's happening at the end of the show with all these little tanks exploding is like very silly, very goofy. But you know, it's enjoyable. It's fun to watch things explode. I think go ahead.
For multiple reasons I will keep vague, towards the end I was thinking a lot about Iron-Blooded Orphans during the like take battle sequence.
All right.
Specifically because Rookie, who gets it over his head, is like a big plot point in like season 2.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, and I was like, oh yeah, I've seen this before.
You know what? That guy worse than Aoki.
Yeah.
Mario Kata watching Ultraseven.
Yeah.
Actually, you want get her to write an Ultra Straw. I want to see what she's cooking.
You're somehow the most gender Ultraman.
I believe this. With my
She'll
heart
do
and
it.
soul.
What was I gonna say? So the thing that I think is lacking in the show is I think the payoff on his it's like final assault. It's like it's the bit of my summary that where I summarized what was happening, and I read it and I was like, is that really all that happens? Is him like just him running ahead and throwing some grenades and being like, I've done it, and I'm like, is that it? Is that all? Well, I think you could do a little more than that.
They could have given him a Thunderbirds-esque thing to do to combat the Magmarizer, and I think that would have been
He could have been the one that boarded the Magmarizer.
yes.
He could have been on it and got into like a fight with an alien and lost. I think that could have happened. That's what I would have done. But you know, I'm not in the '60s making Ultraseven. I was not alive. Thank God, honestly.
Sounds like a you problem.
Yeah, the me problem.
You could have been the perfect age to experience Thunderbirds as it occurred.
Yeah.
Though.
Now, Mel, I have a question because Tohru Narita didn't have anything to say about the last episode. Does he have something to say about this episode?
Yes. So first off, the kaiju in this episode is Alien Platic.
Mm-hmm.
Platic?
Platic. As in remove the S from plastic.
Oh. Okay.
It's the plastic alien with plastic on it.
I see. That does make sense. Kind of.
This kaiju design is notable because it is the final kaiju that Tohru Narita designs for Super Raya production.
Oh.
Well,
Because I think for various reasons, like he didn't like designing certain things like Iron Rocks and Dinosaur Tank. He just like fuck this and bailed.
Oh. I wasn't expecting this subplot to go anywhere.
he got
Holy
so
shit.
mad about having to design cool as shit kaiju that he quit.
Yeah, he quit.
Wow.
Now, this one, not as cool.
He did say as well in design, like, so first of all, the original design didn't have like the plastic stuff on it, and like that was added by like the production team, like basically on their own whim later. And also like he kind of like he admits he also put more time and care in designing the skeleton than like the actual kaiju.
Yeah. What does he go on to do then?
I'm not sure
That's
entirely.
interesting. His Wikipedia page chooses such a strange way to anglicize his family name. Oh, not his family name.
Yeah, I think that's just like kind of a pen name, as like he picked up as Tohru Narita. I just call him Tohru Narita because that's like his actual name.
Yeah.
See, I always envisioned like this guy would be like a Kunio Okawara who would always be like kind of involved a little bit,
But, like,
at least.
mad about it.
So like I
Yeah.
I didn't like expect him to just be like, I'm fine.
He worked.
I mean, I guess like more power to him. If you're not feeling what you're doing, like no reason to stick around, I guess. But like, damn.
However, I will say, you're not feeling Dinosaur Tank. What the fuck's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have strong disagreements about some of his stances on monster design, I would say.
If you... Battleship Yamato Kaiju is simply one of the coolest ideas in the world. I'm sorry, man. It's... And, you know... I'm so sad. I have to design things that aren't sick as hell.
Now, if he said he quit for Alien Spell and Geronimon, I had to say sure, but
if he specifically said, if he specifically sent a letter to someone that said, "I am aware of the plight of Indigenous American people, and I felt really bad about that one kaiju," I'd be like, "All right, fair play." I'm not seeing what he. Just at a glance, I'm just finding it tricky to see what he went on to do. I saw it seems like Mighty worked on Mighty Jack. I don't really know anything else in here.
Yeah, there's like I'm not sure. I don't have the name on me right now of the guy who like would do kaiju designs for the rest of the series, but like there's gonna be another guy who's like doing a lot of the other stuff. And I don't think Tohru Narita was the only guy either, but like
keeps working
like,
on movies.
He's kind of like the big one. Unfortunately, he is gone, so the color timer will return. Spoilers.
Yes.
I'm sure this is a shock to everyone.
This was his grand success with Ultraseven was no color timer.
Yeah, it's not like we're watching a show right now that also has a color timer.
Yeah. Vrazin, production notes on this episode.
Yeah, so this was directed by Toshitsugu Suzuki, and then written by a known Macross hater, Keisuke Fujikawa.
I love that that's his name now.
Yeah.
Listen, he hated Macross enough to have some wild opinions. I can't remember what they are, but I remember
he quit anime and is like, I'm just writing novels from here on out. Fuck this shit.
You know, if you're Tohru Narita and you quit because you had to design... you had to put a dinosaur on a tank, I think you're a loser. If you quit anime because Macross made you mad, I think you're also kind of a loser, but I admire you.
Now, to be fair, I do also want to clarify that the statement he made was more like, I hate that shows are giving more of their resources to the visuals of the storytelling rather than the writing, like Macross. But it just happened to be the one he pointed out. I think it was more of like a broader state of the industry thing. But the fact he did seem to point out Macross is very funny to me.
No Macross.
It is funny given how half that show looks.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. On the one hand, sometimes Macross the best looking show in the world. Other times, oh boy, you were making this on the fly.
Macross would have been so much better if it had a dinosaur tank.
Now, okay.
I think we can say.
Now let's think. Let's come up with one thing that wouldn't be improved by a dinosaur tank.
Okay. Now, stay with me, fellas.
All right.
1 Year War, but you replace the gun tank with dinosaur tank.
Absolutely.
An incredible show.
God, Hayato's in the dinosaur.
The gun cannon is iron rocks.
Yes. Oh, fantastic. The Gundam is obviously Ultraseven, but you know, this is a little obvious.
I think we should give the Gundam a boomerang.
We should give the Gundam.
I mean,
the V fin
compared to the other shit we had in the original show, Boomerang would have fit right in with that arsenal.
The V fin should have been an ice lugger. Absolutely. Well, we are clearly not talking about this episode anymore, but it is good.
Yeah, another good week.
Yeah.
I'd almost respect Tohru Narita to know more if he quit after doing Dinosaur Tank immediately.
Yeah.
Left off on a high note.
Yeah.
A high note that he hated.
Would have left off on the greatest of his creations.
He's rolling over in his grave. We're talking
He's just
so
like,
much
he's
shit.
like, I can't do any better than this, so my work here is done, fellas.
My eulogy, Tohru Narita, designer of such things such as the Dinosaur Tank and also the original Ultraman.
He definitely respected and loved. I think I have come around on thinking that Ultraseven is cooler than Ultraman, looking wise. It's taken a while, but I think I'm now firmly in camp. Ultraseven is just flat out cooler than Ultraman.
Yes, I agree.
And, we'll get different designed Ultras in the future, and, obviously,
Yeah.
Ultraman is kind of like the template, but we'll still definitely get, guys who are in the mold of 7 as well, because 7's still a big deal.
Yeah. Nice. I should hope so. Alright, well, are we kind of done talking about Ultraseven?
I think we
We've
are.
done a pretty even split, an hour of each, an hour of not Ultraseven, hour of Ultraseven. So yeah.
Yeah, because we had 45 minutes of Razen's confessions.
I'll be more normal next week.
No, you won't. Don't lie.
Damn.
You have to, as MyGo says, you have to be honest. If you're gonna.
Oh no.
Anyway, yeah, join us next week for
MyGo, but's a bunch of girls doing an Ultraman podcast.
Oh my god, podcasting anime.
Well,
there was that
install. No,
there was that radio anime that seemed pretty good. I watched 3 episodes of it or something.
You joke, Razen. I hear people say the plot of Blue Archive's even decent.
Oh. I'm not gonna give it a shot. I've wasted too much of my time.
It's fair. You should...
I am not going to talk shit about Blue Archive people. I have friends who are Blue Archive people.
Well, now you have friends who are Nikke people.
No, I don't. Not anymore.
What's this dog doing in my room?
This is how our podcast falls apart.
All right. Join us next time for 3 more episodes of Ultraseven. That is.
Well, making a podcast episode, Red and Rosin are no luck. Carry on, Red.
All right. As I was saying, 3 more episodes of Ultraseven. That is episodes 31, 32, 33. Join us next week. Bye-bye. Oh, no.
Do we need
Plugs. Right. Follow the show at @ultra_Q on Twitter. That is at @ultra_QUE. I am also on Twitter. I'm at @gender_redacted. Ignore my MyGo posting. It's normal. Don't worry about it. Mel.
You can find me at Twitter and other sites at Dear Crowns. We have an email, ultraqpod@gmail.com. We have a coffee, UltraQ Fund for subtitling, ideally. Yeah. Razen.
Yeah, I'm Rosenbran everywhere. That's RASENBRAN. By the time you're listening to this, hopefully I've streamed more Armored Core 6. Gonna try to make that a priority. Yeah, we'll see what's happening from there.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, see ya.
4, 1, 2, 3, let's go. 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ride the ice like a hero. 7, prove to love.